Well, welcome back, folks. In today's video, we're going to continue on our work with a little Ford 8N tractor. But before I get to that, I did want to share with you my intentions with this video series. My goal is not to do a tutorial or a how-to series of Ford 8N tractor repair. There are literally hundreds of quality videos on YouTube that cover virtually every facet of this tractor, so there's no need for me to duplicate that effort. Rather, my goal is to bring you along for the ride, a little bit of a vlog, if you will, to share with you what I encounter as I'm working on the tractor, the problems I run into, my workarounds, my solutions towards my goal of getting the tractor in good operational condition so that next summer I can use it as a working tractor. This video, we're going to continue on with the work that I left off with, I think, on the previous video, which was the engine oil and filter change, the air filter servicing, air filter canister servicing, and some work I had to do on the front grille. There might be a few other little odds and ends in there as well, but that's going to be the focus of this particular video today. So come along for the ride. You can see in this shot where I've drained the engine oil right there. It's been dripping now for like 4 or 5 days. I pulled the plug out of the bottom and I've been just letting it drip. Of course, I ran the engine for probably 15 minutes and got it good and warm before I pulled the drain plug. And I had to stop there, and I'll talk about the reason why I had to stop there in a minute. But I had to stop there, and I'll just let it drip for a few days till I could address the issue I ran into. Looking up a little higher here, I did have to pull the air cleaner canister off, which sits right in here. Well, I didn't have to probably, but I did because I wanted to clean the inside of it. So not only did I want to change the oil, it's an oil bath air cleaner, I wanted to get up inside of the unit and clean the canister itself. And it's a good thing I did because it was absolutely filthy. I don't know actually if it's ever been cleaned. The oil in the cup was not bad, but the canister itself and the screens, there's two wire screens in there. They're part of the media that it was just filthy. And again, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And as you see up there a little higher, you can see that the tube, you see right here, that's the tube that goes from the carburetor up to the air cleaner canister. I think I'd mentioned in one of my previous videos that I thought that was had been replaced. Now I don't think it has been. I think somebody, for whatever reason, sprayed it with blue paint, because I can see up here red. See right up there where I'm pointing to? I think that is probably the original red, and it originally was red to match the belly of the tractor. For some reason they hit it with a blue paint. Again, who knows? But I do think that's original. The rubber couplers or the hose couplers at each end I'm going to replace. You can buy those aftermarket. Those are hard as rocks. I mean, literally, you could cut them with a saw. And it would cut like wood. I mean, they're that hard. So I'm just going to replace those. And I think the clamps themselves, there's 2 clamps at this end, 2 at that end. I might replace those as well. In fact, I probably will. So anyway, got the air cleaner off. I soaked that in the part solution. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. I also swapped the front wheels around and reversed them. You know, they were shaped a cup like this, and I basically reversed them so that you can see the dish, how it's set up. I did that intentionally to bring the width, the track of the tractor in. This is, I believe, what was OEM or original, and it matches the rear wheels now that I also had reversed, because the front wheels are out quite a ways. The previous person, I bought it from, his father used this tractor, and I think he tilled with it or did a garden with it or something, and he wanted the treadway out, so I brought him back in. Makes the tractor narrower, of course, for my space, as well as it's original, and I like things that are in original condition. So very easy to do. You know, I jacked it up, braced it on my jacks, supports, spun the lug nuts out when the impact came right out, no problem. Reversed the wheel and put it back on. Those tires are not directional, by the way, like the rear are. But went right back on, used a little anti-seize on all the studs, cleaned up the wheel hub, no problem. 10 minutes per tire or so, and I was done. Let's walk around to the front of the tractor. At the front of the tractor here, you can see this grill, and this grill is designed to flip down, and allow me to demonstrate. The intent behind that is so you can get at the radiator, and you can see the radiator is not in very good shape. It doesn't leak, but someone pinched off a couple tubes there in the past and whatever, but I'll get to that later on. But the idea is to be able to flip that down and clean the radiator, blow it out, or brush it off, because it picks up chaff and debris from, working in tall grass and fields. And it was designed to allow it to pivot, like you can see there. And what had happened is someone in the past, you can see here, 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 I think those, and yeah, that's it, those 3 spots. They welded this grill to the hood with spot welds that I had to take my Dremel with a little cutoff wheel and get up in there and slice those welds and then work this loose once again. Now, why would someone do that? I don't know. Maybe, and you can see, by the way, here, these little tabs on each end, right here, one over there, that fit up into a hole here. And it basically, I've got it working. I've got to do a little bit more work on it yet to make it a little easier to close, but I think the reason someone probably did that, and this is speculation only, is that the grill, that flip down part of the grill, the front of it, was just popping loose and dropping down while they were using the tractor, and they got irritated with that. So instead of figuring out how to fix it that way, in other words, do it the correct way, they just spot welded it. And of course, then you can't get at the radiator. So I cut those welds yesterday and worked with it just a little bit, but I've got more work to do. But it is now at least functional to the point that it works as originally intended. Perhaps not as smoothly as it should, but it does work. A couple other things, or one other thing here while we're at the front I'm going to do is you can see here bolts on each side. That's to allow you to spread the axle out, again, to increase, that's another way to increase the tread width. And you can see they've got, over here on the left side of the tractor, there's 3 bolts in there, 1, 2, and 3. I think they probably there's usually normally 2. And I think they probably did that to provide extra support, because it did have a loader on it. The loader puts a lot of load on that front axle. That's pure speculation. But I'm going to rearrange the bolts and put them back as original from the factory and pull the 3rd bolt out because I don't need it anymore. I think over here on the left side, I think that's pretty close to the original setup, but I'll have to double check. I might not have to do anything on the left side except pull this nut off, because they've got multiple washers here. I don't know why, again, behind that bolt. And the original one, I think, had a lock washer, not a flat washer and a lock washer. And I think that's got at least 1 flat washer and 1 lock washer. And I'll put that back original eventually. Let's go talk about the oil change process and what I bumped into. Looking at here, obviously, the oil I bought for the oil change, Rotella, Shelf, 15W40, a lot of different oils you could use. 15W40 is one of the oils that's recommended in terms of weight. Rotella's got a great reputation. You might notice this is rated for diesels as well as gasoline, perfectly fine, will not hurt anything at all on a gasoline engined vehicle. Plenty of oil, Wix oil filter. This is a canister type filter, you will notice. I didn't have any trouble getting this. I picked it up at my local auto parts store. They had it on the shelf. Apparently those are used more often than one would think. I haven't used one since I worked on my last vintage tractor, but readily available all over the place. And I'm a little fussy about my brand of oil filters. Frankly, I generally limit my choices. If I was to do an oil change, which I don't, by the way, in my cars anymore, I have it done. But if I was to do it myself, I limit it to Wix and Perlator are my 2 preferred brands. I don't care for most of the other brands. I know there are other good filters, but Wix and Perlator are my preferred suppliers. This is the oil drain plug that came out of the bottom of the 8N. And the reason I'm wearing gloves is it is so gooey. And I'm going to go off on a little rant here, and because this gave me some trouble. Now, if you don't want to hear a rant, you're going to want to skip ahead, but this kind of made me cranky. I've changed, I couldn't tell you how many engine oil systems in my lifetime. Hundreds, if not thousands. Everything from lawnmowers to tractors. Virtually everything in between. And sometimes getting these out can be a challenge, of course. But this tractor obviously had Bubba, the mechanic, and you might hear me refer to Bubba from time to time now. But clearly, Bubba worked on this tractor, just like Bubba welded that grill, that drop-down grill on the front, welded that in place rather than fix it properly. But Bubba's been at this tractor, and I'm not sure about this, but right here it looks like someone almost put a chisel in there to hit it with a chisel to spin it off. That's my suspicion. It sure looks like a chisel mark right there to me. And this is a 1-inch, by the way. Pete, you and I were in conversation the other day about this. This is a 1-inch. I measured it. But this sucker was really, really tight. And someone in the past, and you can see it's rounded off here. You can see all, it's really been beat up. And, Bubba wanted to make sure this was good and tight. I didn't want to use heat because obviously this is an oil pan and it's relatively thin metal. What I ended up doing is getting a 24-inch rigid pipe wrench. Now, Rigid makes great pipe wrenches. It's the only kind of brand of pipe wrench I'll own. I've got a set of them, and they're well made and they're sharp. The teeth on the jaws are nice and sharp. It fits right. So I got out my Rigid pipe wrench, and I tightened that sucker up as tight as I could get it to fit on here. And you might be able to just see some fresh marks. Not much, actually. I didn't leave much marking on them, and not fresh anyway. Tighten that up. That pipe wrench up on that square there underneath the tractor, put my left foot up against the front tire, my back up against the rear tire, both hands on the pipe wrench, and I wanted to pull it towards me so I had some control because I figured when it went, it was going to, just like break loose. And even with that 24-inch pipe wrench, it took all I had bracing myself to break that loose. But when it came loose, it came out loose with a bang, of course, like right now. And then with a hole that big, the oil, it spun, and then the oil just started gushing out. Now, this is supposed to have, that's my rant, end of rant. Why people over-tighten these things, and I've run into that so many times, all the way down on little lawnmowers. I don't know what they're thinking. It's not necessary. This isn't going to vibrate loose. I don't get it. Maybe someone watching this video does. Share with me your thinking on that, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't think it's necessary. And I wasn't taught that way either, by the way, when I had auto mechanics. Anyway, this is supposed to have a screen. And the idea behind the screen is it fits up into the engine, and the oil pickup tube from the oil pump comes down into here, sits like this. And there's a screen around here that prevents debris from getting down and settling in the bottom of the engine and allowing the pickup tube or the oil pump to pick it up. That's the idea. And very common, again, that those screens are missing. And when I pull this out, and the screen is not up inside the engine, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I did look. It's missing. Not uncommon, I've discovered. It seems to happen all the time. So what I ended up doing is just buying a new one. And as you can see here, there's a gasket. And you can see the screen. Again, the pickup tube fits in here. And I just replaced that. This, by the way, is bigger than that one. This is 1 inch, as I said. This is 1 3/16. So Pete, when we talked the other day, you were right about this being a little bigger than, I thought it was maybe we were talking. I didn't have a wrench in front of me or a way to measure it. I thought it was an inch, 15/16 or an inch. It's actually 1 3/16. So it's not quite the same as you can see there. But anyway, came with the gasket, came with the screen. So this is going to be the replacement for this, which I will keep. And then we'll go ahead and do the oil change. I got to pull the oil filter canister apart so I can get it, the original oil filter, and then complete the oil change. Let's go talk about the air cleaner. Over at the parts cleaning tank, you can see the air cleaner canister. This is what mounts on the tractor. See there? The oil cup on the bottom. These are the internal screens that fit up each one of these. There's 2 of them that fits up inside. You can see the hole in the screen that fits over this tube, this draft tube. And the inside's in pretty good shape, even though there is a little rust way down in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Got a little rust through in the top portion here. I'm not going to worry about that right now. And then this just holds these, this grill here, this screen, holds this in place when you put them in. See the inside of the oil cup is in very good condition, as you would expect, because it's usually full of oil. This was grungy in the bottom, a lot of debris, as you would expect. That's what it's for. This unit, I don't think had ever been cleaned. It was absolutely filthy. And in fact, I let it soak in the tank for 24 hours, and I could still do additional cleaning. Still see there's little dirt, soil caked down there. And this was the bottom of the screen. So this is the part that faced the oil cup. And this was all full of sludge. I had a hard time getting that clean, but I did. Again, these are replaceable. Virtually everything here is replaceable. You can get repops of the whole assembly used. They're all over the place on eBay, everywhere you could think of. These screens, this mesh, you can buy it usually at even Tractor Supply, because these were used on other vehicles, other equipment besides just this Ford 8N. Very common back in the day. Eventually, I will probably replace these mesh screens. For now, I'm not going to. I'm going to put it back together and get it, back the way it needs to be, so it's in runnable condition, and call it good for now. But eventually, I'll probably circle back and replace these. There is supposed to be a gasket here, a cork, I believe it's cork, that fits around here where this oil cup fits up into the bottom like that. That is missing. It was missing when I took it apart. Again, shocker there, right? So I'll pick up one of those eventually too. But other than maybe doing a little final cleaning, I can go ahead and put this back together. So, and back on the tractor as well. So that's where I'm at with the air cleaner right now. I think that's going to be it for this video today, folks. I think I've covered everything I wanted to discuss. Might have gone a little longer than what I was originally thinking, but nonetheless, I want to cover those points to kind of keep you up to date with where I'm at. So we're going to call it quits for now. Any issues, questions, thoughts, drop me a note. Otherwise, as usual, thanks for watching.